Back for the 2017 NFL season. It is Lit Sports Online, and we are doing predictions again, but this time against the spread.
Ask your bitch what she trying to do. Ask your bitch what she trying to do. Ask your bitch what she trying to do.
So it's going to be a little bit different this year. Maybe a little more knowledge going to be brought as a result. We'll see. But let's get right into it. Chris, what's the first game?
So Thursday, tomorrow, we have at 8:30, we have Kansas City at New England. New England is -7 with the spread. So Justin, how do you feel about that game? What are your predictions on that?
Even with the -7 to New England, I'm still picking New England. I just don't see how on a Thursday night they're going to come out and fall flat on their face, especially now that the Chiefs are counting on Tyreek Hill as their number one wideout. Don't think he's fit for that role. I don't think the Chiefs' defense is going to be able to contain totally the Patriots. So I can see the Patriots winning by a touchdown at least.
Did you hear that the Patriots just signed the 7-Eleven cashier down the street, right? That's because Bill Belichick is a football genius. It's at home. They just won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's going off. Tom Brady's winning this one, even with the spread.
Yeah, I would agree with the both of you. I think it's an easy pick. It's in New England. The -7 spread isn't that much. I would think they win by 10 points. Alex Smith is just a game manager. He'll just move the ball down the field. I think Patriots by 10.
And we don't really know what to expect out of Kareem Hunt yet either. That's another wild card out there. We'll see how the rookie does.
Exactly. And, of course, you got your slot of 1 o'clock games. So we'll lead off with Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Pittsburgh is -8.5. Or you can look the other way, Cleveland +8.5. Justin, how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, so you're basically counting on the Steelers to win by 9 or 10, but I think they're going to do it. Honestly, if I had to predict, I'd say blowout game for the Steelers because it's Deshaun Kaiser's first start, and as a rookie, I think they should have went with Kessler as their quarterback. That's my opinion. But they're rolling with the rookie from week 1, and I don't think it's going to be all that close. I'm going with the Steelers.
You know what? I'm going to take the bold prediction here, and I'm going to say it's going to be very close, and I think Cleveland's going to win the spread here. I think there's a lot of young talent, especially on the defense. I think I'm going to give Kaiser a chance. I think he's going to step up. They got a lot of young blood on this Cleveland squad, and I think they're going to come out ready to make a statement. I don't think they'll win the overall game, but with the spread, yeah, Cleveland's going to win it.
I'm gonna side with Justin on this one, just because, like you said, there is a lot of promise with their young talent. Mm-hmm. It's just too early. It's kind of cliche. The Browns always go with the guy week 1. They never really wait for him to sit behind somebody. And I can't agree with the blowout game, but my biggest thing is when Pittsburgh scores quick, which they probably will, how will the young team respond? And I think when they force the punt, they may have a turnover. It may get ugly. It may they may score some garbage points in the second half, but I think Steelers win by 13, maybe even 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Right. So then to lead us into our next 1 o'clock game, we have New York, the Jets, at Buffalo. So the Jets are currently a +5.5, which would entail that they could Buffalo would have to win by at least 6 or win by a touchdown. So any predictions on that game?
This is a tough one because of the spread, but I think I'm still going to go with Buffalo to edge out the Jets on that. I mean, yes, McCown starting is better than a Bryce Petty starting or Hackenberg, but I still you look at the Jets receivers, they got nobody. So I can easily see the Bills winning this by a touchdown.
McCown is a career suck. I mean, there's no other way to describe him. And even with the spread, I have Buffalo still winning this.
Yeah, I have Buffalo winning easy, maybe by a touchdown or 2. Shady McCoy's just going to be a problem for the Jets.
He's going off.
I see, at best, the Jets putting up maybe a touchdown, 10 points at most. I don't see them moving the ball that much on offense. So to lead us into our next game, we have Houston hosting Jacksonville. Houston is a -4. How do you guys feel about that one?
I am taking Jacksonville with confidence on this one, okay? +4. I think these teams are very evenly matched, actually, because both the Jacksonville Jaguars improved their defense with several free agent signings. So you got 2 good defenses. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And you look at the Texans, they're either rolling out Savage or Watson. We know Watson's inexperienced rookie. Savage is very underwhelming at quarterback. So I think it's an evenly matched game. I'm going to take the team that's +4.
Yeah, I think for the same reasons I'm going to go with Jacksonville. There's a lot of stuff going on in Houston that also plays a part in it. But that even may give Houston the edge, just playing with that emotional chip on their shoulder. But I think I'm still going to go with Jacksonville.
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys for that exact reason that you stated. If there's anybody that's not losing a game this week, I think it's Houston. I think they'll probably win by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. You talk about Tom Savage. I mean, he's the only quarterback that's probably been under Bill O'Brien for maybe the past 2 or 3 years, so he does know the offense. Hopefully they roll out with him. I think the defense does play well. J.J. Watt, Clowney back. I'm rolling with the Texans. Right. So then that leads us into our first NFC East matchup. We have Philly going to Washington. Washington is currently -2.5, which would entail that they would have to win by a field goal in order to cover. Justin?
Okay, so who's the home team here?
Washington is. It's in Washington. They're -2.5.
I'll take Washington -2.5. I mean, this is a team that's I think is going to have a prolific offense. Yes, the Eagles got Alshon Jeffrey, and we know what he can do, but I'm taking Kirk Cousins over Carson Wentz, and when it's less than a 3-point spread, that's not hard for me to make that pick.
Right.
If it was in Philly, I'd go with Philly, but it's in Washington, Kirk Cousins. I have faith that he'll manage the game enough to give DC their victory this week. So, yeah.
Right, and Justin talks about the spread. I mean, you're talking about a field goal.
Yeah.
I think Washington probably handles it with ease. Kirk Cousins puts him in a good position. Like you said, Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey, how's that connection going to be? It may take a couple weeks to develop that. I think Washington covers. So that leads us into another NFC matchup. We have Arizona going to Detroit. Detroit is currently a -3. Justin, I know you have Matt Stafford as your number one starting quarterback at the moment in fantasy draft. Are you going with him, or
it's a close call, but I think these teams are pretty evenly matched, and I'll just take the +3 team and go with Arizona.
Yeah, just like him, I'm going to go with Arizona. They look good, and I have a feeling they're going to come out looking strong even this week. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is out of the whole slate of teams and games that are this week, I think it's probably the most uninteresting matchup. I'm just going to roll with Arizona on the road, +3. I even think they may even win by a touchdown or two. Matt Stafford has been prone to throw a couple interceptions here and there. And Arizona's defense does force turnovers sometimes. So I think they were top 7 in fantasy football last year. So look for a couple of turnovers during this game. So that leads us into probably Gerald's favorite game of the week. We have Baltimore going to Cincy. Cincy is -1.5. What do you guys feel about that?
Well, when you're talking about 1.5 point spread, that's basically irrelevant.
Right?
I'm going to take Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I just feel like this is, all the Bengals are healthy. Tyler Eifert is healthy. Yes, we know what A.J. Green can bust up a Ravens secondary. So, Ravens could win, but I'm going to take the Bengals here.
Your dad's watching, so he'll take me to his season ticket holding games, right? Instead of you, right? Okay, cool. Going with the Ravens. Joe Flacco's back. They've guaranteed that. I think, honestly, this is the missing piece. The preseason didn't look as promising as what some of us would like to see, but again, it's preseason. Who really cares? Joe Flacco's back. I think he's going to lead this offense this weekend. Yeah, he's taking this one.
All right. I'm going to have to go with Justin with this one. I got Cincy easily covering this game. I mean, you're not.
The spread's irrelevant. Come on, man.
You're not. I mean, exactly. You're not talking a huge spread. I just don't think with their offense fully healthy, at least to start the season, that the Ravens are going to be able to handle that. You have Eifert, you have A.J. Green, you added John Ross. You have two running backs in the backfield that can handle themselves. So,
have you seen the Ravens' defense? Though we're solid. We're looking good. I mean,
I have, and then I've also I've watched games where the Ravens have played, and in the first half of the Browns, they were losing 20-3. So I've seen what they can do when they're playing really well,
Okay.
and I've seen what they can do when they're not on their game. So I'm rolling with Cincy on this one.
all right, fair enough.
All right. So that also leads us into another AFC matchup where the spread doesn't really do much for this game. It's almost a toss-up. You have a +1, -1. You have Oakland going to Tennessee. How do you feel about this one, Justin?
Yeah, this is pretty tough, but I'm going to go with Tennessee for the simple fact that they have actually a really strong run defense. And if Marshawn Lynch can't get going, then Derek Carr's just going to have to rely on slinging it and might make him a little one-dimensional. I mean, again, this is pretty close, but I am going to take Tennessee here.
I tried trading you, Carr, by the way. You know, I'm surprised you wouldn't take him. But anyways, this is a tough game. It really is. Marcus Mariota, he's back. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna have to go with Tennessee. Honestly, they're in Tennessee. Like I said, if it was flip side, they were in Oakland. One of those games where, of course, I think the home team gets the advantage here, especially with the 1 point spread. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
Despite me starting Marcus Mariota first week 1, I'm going to go with Oakland on this one. Just for the sole purpose of, it is the first game of the season. I think Oakland's defense is underrated. Khalil Mack, I think they have a decent secondary to be able to contain Mariota. I'm still hoping for a lot of points. That's why I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think Oakland edges it out by maybe a field goal or two just to start the year. I think Tennessee is going to improve. They're going to make a push for the playoffs, maybe make it into maybe the AFC Conference or AFC Championship game, but I'm going with Oakland week 1.
I think it's going to be a great game. 2 very young quarterbacks. Oh, man, it's going to be nice.
Right. Now we go into a NFC matchup. We have Atlanta going to Chicago. Chicago is currently a +6, which would mean Atlanta would have to win by at least 7 points or a touchdown to win.
I will go with Atlanta. The way I'm looking at this is that, you know, even though Atlanta is going on the road and has the -6, you know, the Bears just do not have a great quarterback situation. And on top of that, Jordan Howard, who did really well last year, I think it was more of a fluke. I think he's actually going to have a bad year this year. So I think their offense is going to be a mess, absolute mess. Cameron Meredith is out for the year too, so absolute mess for the Bears offense, and I just don't see how they're going to win.
I think Atlanta, not only in this game, but this year, is going to have a great year. They're playing for chip on the shoulder. They're pissed off. I expect them to come out swinging. Again, in Chicago, don't really have a solid quarterback. Even at home, I don't see them winning this one, Atlanta, for the victory.
Yeah, I think it's across the board. We agree. I got Atlanta winning by at least 2 touchdowns on this one. Just as Justin said, I don't think their offense of Chicago is going to be able to move the ball that much. They may score 8 touchdowns, 10 points at most. But like you said, Atlanta's just going to come right off the bat. With it being in Chicago, I'm not too worried about that. We're not talking December yet. We're not talking cold weather, snow. Mm-hmm. Plus, you said Atlanta's playing with a chip on their shoulder from last year, so I think they'll handle this one easily.
Yeah.
All right. So that leads us into a bias pick from Justin, maybe or maybe not. We have Indy going to LA to face the Rams. LA is a +3 at home. How do you feel about that?
Taking the Rams, and it's really not so much because of the +3 in at home. It's more the fact that, by all accounts right now, Andrew Luck's not playing week 1. And if you're going to roll out Scott Tolzien, yeah, I'll go ahead and take the chances with my team on that one. So I'm going Rams.
Usually I give Justin crap at this point and usually pick a team that's playing the Rams. But like a smart human being tonight, I will go with the Rams, honestly. They don't have Andrew Luck. No luck for them. That means they're going to lose.
Right. I think this is an easy pick. I'm going with the Rams. Andrew Luck not playing. If Andrew Luck was playing, I would go with Indy. But other than that, I don't see the Colts doing too much with them. And then it leads us into an NFC matchup. We have at 425. We have Seattle going to Green Bay. Green Bay is -3. I think this is going to be an interesting primetime game. How do you feel about this one, Justin?
This is in Green Bay. I am going to go with Green Bay. I mean, again, yes, the Seattle defense is good enough to limit what Aaron Rodgers can do, but you know what? Prolific offense. They're at home. It's only a 3-point spread. I'll take my odds with Green Bay.
Yeah, I definitely got Green Bay winning this one. I see no... I mean, again, Seattle's a great defense. Seattle even has a decent offense, but there's no way in the world I see Green Bay losing this at home. You said Rawls was out. We looked at that earlier. So Seattle's running game is going to be a little iffy this week. So, again, I see Green Bay winning. I'm going with a bold prediction. I think Jamal Williams gets that Lambeau Leap right now this week.
I don't know.
I don't know about
that one. I don't know about
it's
that
more
one.
of a bold wish.
Right, and I think to create some separation here in between our picks, my bold prediction is I'm going to go with Seattle on the road. I think their offense is going to be clicking a lot more. From week 4 to week 17, Jimmy Graham was actually top 5 tight end in the league last year as far as fantasy football goes, so they really started clicking. They are healthy on offense. Green Bay's defense is very, very shaky. I mean, I believe they averaged letting up maybe 24, 25 points a game last year. I mean, you had subpar offenses putting up at least 20 points on them. So I'm rolling with Seattle here, at least week one. Now, if they meet in the playoffs, or if they meet, somewhere along the line and it's in Green Bay, there's more at stake. I usually don't like going against Aaron Rodgers, but week one, I think I will.
Interestingly enough, Jimmy Graham, when he played the Packers last year, only caught one ball. So I'm just throwing that out there.
I got Jimmy
But
Graham.
That's a fun fact. I did not know that.
I actually
so I
got
appreciate
Jimmy Graham
that,
this week,
Justin.
so I hope he goes
I
off.
But
Wow, I wasn't
I
expecting
will
that.
say what's in your favor is that +3, that could actually make a difference here.
Right, and I think when you have teams that now they're not in the same division, but they do know each other well. They have met in the playoffs before. They have met late in the season. If you remember correctly, about 4 years back, these two teams played on Monday Night Football with the replacement refs. And if you remember, Green Bay had the interception. They rolled touchdown Seahawks. So there is some history between the two where it can be a close game. Where I think the +3 is going to come in handy on that one.
It's gonna be a dog fight.
I think it's going to be one of the best
good
games of the
game,
week, in my opinion, as far as most excitement.
I'll be at work watching it.
So that leads us into another NFC matchup. We have Carolina going to San Fran. San Fran is currently a +4. Justin, how do you feel about this?
Not wide enough of a spread for me to pick San Fran.
Right.
I'm easily
Not
going with
at all.
Carolina here. I actually think that Cam Newton could have a huge season. I looked at his schedule, a lot of easy games as far as the defenses he's playing against. And week one against San Fran, yeah, that's a no-brainer, Carolina for me.
Yeah, for this, it looks like the old, FCS games that they play in college where the big name team plays a little D1 AA school. Yeah, Carolina's running away with this one. No question.
Yeah, there's nothing to actually talk about on this
All
game.
right, keep it
Carolina
moving.
wins it easy. Which leads me into my favorite game of the week. We have Sunday Night Football. We have New York going to Dallas. Obviously, we've heard about Zeke. He's permitted to play week one, but we'll see what happens afterwards. But it's in Dallas. Dallas -5.5.
We're going to take a second and actually really talk about this game.
Yeah,
because
you
there's
know-
a lot behind it.
I'm liking Giants with +5.5. The Giants could lose this game, but they may not lose it by much. It might be a field goal loss. I really like the Giants' defense this year. A lot of great guys. I think Des Bryant's going to be locked down again. Maybe Cole Beasley is that guy that the Cowboys try to do something with. They are going to have Elliott, but, I mean, it's a division rivalry game, and that 5.5 spread, I think the odds makers went a little too high with it. I'm going to go with the Giants +5.5.
They're in Dallas. There is a lot of distractions, but they're in Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott has a lot to play for now because, again, his playing future at the current moment is uncertain. I think he's really going to turn it up. I think Dak Prescott's going to really come out. He hasn't had competition in the preseason this year, so he knows he's the guaranteed starter. Again, and you also mentioned your boy Cole Beasley. I for sure, and again, I'm no Dallas fan by any shape or form, but I honestly think they're going to have a great year pending this the suspension gets overturned. But that's really what I want to talk to you guys about. It's like this suspension. So he's guaranteed to play this one game.
Well, the reason the
Explain
ruling
this.
behind it was so that there was no competitive advantage. I'm not sure who made the ruling on it, but he is permitted to play week one. The reason why was because they didn't want a deadline. They didn't want to have the court to make a decision by a certain date to say if he is or is not allowed to play week one. Now, there is still a possibility that it could happen to where it could get reduced or most likely will be upheld, but from what it's looking like now, he's playing week one and most likely starting week two through the bye week. He'll be suspended, but we'll have to hear more from, I guess,
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on that one, but yeah, as the spread goes, Dallas.
But Justin brought up a good point. This spread kills me a little bit. Obviously, I am biased when picking this, but 5.5 is tricky because Dallas could easily win the game 24-20 or 2017, even 2016. But the thing that scares me is last year the two teams that Dallas lost against, 2 of the 3 teams, was the New York Giants. Landon Collins shut him down. Janoris Jenkins shut Des Bryant down. But hopefully Des is healthy. I think Dallas wins by 6, maybe 7. I can see him winning by 2 field goals, though. It is at home. Zeke playing with a lot on his shoulder.
Give it to him.
I think it is going to be a close game,
Yeah.
but it might come down to Dallas scoring, ball being put in Eli's hand, and a pick may seal the deal or something like that. I'm rolling with Dallas.
Well, you're hoping, but Giants had your number last year, so we'll see what happens.
They did.
It's a
They
new
did.
year, man.
They did.
It's a
And these
new
are just
year.
predictions. These are not.
These aren't.
These are not reasons to go bet on a certain team. Just wanted to put that little disclaimer out
Yeah,
there.
please do not bet on our opinions.
Right. At least not Gerald's.
All right, whatever.
So this leads us into our doubleheader of Monday night games. So the 7 o'clock game, we have New Orleans going to Minnesota. We have Adrian Peterson facing off against his older team. He did say he wanted to stick it to Minnesota. Minnesota is currently -3.5.
Honestly, if I was the odds makers, this would be one of those like +1, -1 games. I don't understand why they're giving a 3.5 point edge to Minnesota. I get that their defense is really good, but the Saints have a prolific offense. And on the Vikings side of the ball, yeah, you can say, oh, the Saints have a crappy defense, but you know what? Vikings offense isn't that great. Their line sucks. They're going to count on a rookie running back this year. I'm taking New Orleans this one.
Yeah, likewise, I'm taking New Orleans again. I mean, I just don't make sense, honestly. I don't really trust Minnesota. Sam Bradford, he's starting, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, I've never really liked him, even when he was on your Rams. So, yeah, I think I'm definitely going to go with New Orleans this weekend.
Right. Awesome. Because I'm going to disagree with you guys. I'm going to go with Minnesota based off of their defense. I think the defense may get, a defensive score, maybe a safety, maybe a touchdown. That's going to put them over that spread.
Safety. Wow.
You mentioned, I mean, their defense does get after the ball. You mentioned Bradford. I don't think he lasts the whole year. If Bridgewater is healthy enough, I think he comes back maybe for the second half of the season. But when you look at New Orleans' offense, Colby Fleener, the tight end, didn't have a real great connection with Drew Brees last year. And Willie Snead is actually suspended. One of their wide receivers is suspended for the first 3 games of the year. So that takes one of his threats away. Now, Drew Brees is, I consider, like an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady. It doesn't really matter who you put out there. They'll get them the ball. It's just about if other people catch it.
Yeah.
But for those reasons, as far as their offense and Minnesota's defense, I'm going to go with Minnesota.
I'm wondering how motivated Adrian Peterson's going to be for this game, though. Is he going to bring it?
I feel like he's going to bring it. I think he's going to resurrect himself, and I think he's going off. Like, that's honestly just my prediction. That was one of the main reasons why I did pick New Orleans, because I'm like, he's going to a familiar place. He's used to running on that field. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's angry.
The thing is, though, he's also going to split carries with Mark Ingram. So, unless Sean Payton deviates from the plan and says, okay, our goal is to, just run Adrian Peterson the majority of the time, I don't think that's going to happen. Plus, Mark Ingram is a better downfield back as far as receiving. So I think that takes away some of his carries. I think Adrian Peterson gets maybe 15 to 20 touches. But, maybe for 40, 50 yards. But, again, I got Minnesota by at least a touchdown in this game.
Okay.
All right.
I think the spread's too high, but okay.
All right, well, we'll see. That's the fun in it. So that leads us into our last game of the week. We have another Monday night game at 10 o'clock. We have the LA Chargers going to Denver. Denver is -3.5. Now, if you remember, Denver has Trevor Siemian starting. They have a strong defense, but how do you feel about this game and the spread?
Give me the home team on this, so I'll take Denver. Yes, Rivers and the Chargers have a pretty decent offense, but I just see Rivers struggling a lot against Denver, in Denver. That's just the way I'm looking at it. And Trevor Siemian, I get it. He's not that great of a quarterback, but now he's got a whole year of rapport with his receivers. He might actually come out and surprise this game. So I'll take Denver, -3.5.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take Denver, too. I mean, again, Denver's a tough place to play. The altitude alone is enough to knock a team out, and I just don't think Philip Rivers is going to come in with enough to take that out. So yeah, Denver. This is
actually tough for me on this one. I like Denver. Just their defense is very, very strong. You still, despite Trevor Siemian, you still have offensive weapons. You have Emmanuel Sanders. You have Demaryius Thomas, who is starting week 1 in my fantasy football league. But the spread 3.5. I mean, the thing is, the Chargers' defense is not bad. They have a decent defense. They have a new defensive coordinator. This is tough for me. A late game on Monday night. I'm going to go with LA on this one. I think Phillip Rivers pulls off the upset week 1. Now, granted, do I see them, advancing through the playoffs or having a decent season, maybe 500 at best. But I think week 1, I think the Chargers are going to edge this out. Like I said, Denver would have to win by 4 points, basically a touchdown or 2 field goals. I'm going to go with LA on this one.
Yeah. See, I actually think the Chargers are going to have a pretty good season. I just think they're going to stumble this first game.
So, I mean, that's a good slate of games. And, of course, we're missing out on the one game. We have the Dolphins and the Bucks, who are not playing Week 1.
Due to Hurricane Irma.
Due to Hurricane Irma. They did get rescheduled for Week 11. So they're playing during their bye week, which means that they now have a bye Week 1. And they're playing 16 straight weeks.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
That's a brutal schedule, and 16 straight. That's brutal.
I mean, you're messing with player safety at that point, I think.
Like there's no rest period. I mean, the way they do the bye weeks is that players do get a rest. So it's going to be really interesting what happens. I mean, again, we hope for, safety of their team, but even more important, safety of Florida, who's about to get possibly slammed by a hurricane in a matter of days. I think it was definitely the smart idea. I would have probably moved to maybe play it somewhere else. Just, Week 1, get another game somewhere else again. Most of the people that are going to go to those games are probably worried about the hurricane, so they're probably not going to go. So in the end, it does make sense.
Well, the biggest thing about not moving it was because later in the year, Miami does play a game in London. So they did take away one of their home games. So they already have 7 home games. Yeah. So they didn't want to say, hey, Miami, let's go ahead and move it to a central location. Now you only have 6 home games out of the year.
That's true.
So I don't know if it's something that maybe the teams or the owners had a decision on or vote on. But I don't know if the NFL jumped the gun on this one. I think relocating would have probably been the smart move. Players, I guess they don't really. I guess home field advantage does matter as far as the fan perspective, but I think if the players come out to play, it shouldn't have much effect on it.
Yeah, we were all pretty much in consensus that they should move this to a neutral stadium and just let the players play Week 1.
Yeah,
I definitely think so.
I mean, again, watching that storm, hoping the best for the South Florida area, but today's episode is pretty special. This is actually, tomorrow. Actually watching it on the 7th, probably as you most are, be the 1-year anniversary of our first video. I'm excited. We got a lot coming this year. Brought Chris on within the last year, so we're excited about that. And we have a lot of stuff planned for you guys. So again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and please comment. Let's start the conversation. We want to know what your picks are. We want to know if your opinions align with ours, but
let us know if we're talking crazy.
Yeah. So. I mean, Justin talks crazy most of the time. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. But no, thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.
Walking contradiction, trying to figure out my health. Fuck it, I'ma drink this whole bottle by myself. Walking contradiction, only do this for the message. Fuck it, I'ma talk that shit until I get